When I speak to you, my real foundations about my interest in the Great War in Africa and as a whole really came from my great uncle William Townsend, who served with the 25th Service Battalion of the Royal Fusiliers, the Frontiersmen, as many of you probably know. They were one of two British line infantry regiments that served in East Africa, along with the 2nd Law North Lancs, who landed at Tanga. He was born in 1895 near Leeds, and he was I believe he was a pre-war member of the Legion of Frontiersmen, which was almost like a grown-up scout group. And it was from there that one of the members actually formed a battalion. One of the members formed a battalion made up of these members of the Legion of Frontiersmen, and it was a real ragtag sort of group of people, because they had big game hunters, including the fame of Salou, the famous big game hunter. They had Cherry Kearton also was in the battalion and took many videos whilst he was out serving in East Africa. They had a tightrope trapeze artist, general in the Honduras army, as well as many other different sorts of people. They served in East Africa in the early part of 1915, and their first real action was at the Battle of Bacoba, where they stormed the small town of port of Bacoba, and they got a really bad reputation from that first battle, because that's where they got their nickname, the Boozeleers, because they ransacked the whole town. And because of what they did after the battle, all of the gallantry awards that was recommended for the Battle of Bacoba was actually declined. It was after that shortly after that, the 25th Fusiliers actually won a Victoria Cross in the form of Lieutenant Wilbur Dartnell, who volunteered to stay with the wounded soldiers and allow the rest of his unit which was the mounted infantry aspect of the unit, to retreat after being ambushed by German soldiers at Mactau it was September 1916, wasn't it? 15. And it was from researching these sorts of actions that I knew my great uncle was involved in, that I really got my interest in the Great War in East Africa. It was also that, but he also brought home from the war a lot of what you would call war booty, which is including a German Navy cap tally from the SMS Königsberg. And it was also researching that I learnt a lot more about what happened with the Königsberg, and after it was sunk by the Mersey and Severn, that it was the guns were actually taken off the stricken ship and actually used during ground fighting. And it was also researching one of the ships that the Königsberg had destroyed, the HMS Pegasus, and actually finding out that they had done the same thing to the Pegasus and the Royal Artillery as using the guns from the Pegasus on the land operations in East Africa. That actually, once again, that they actually came against each other in a ground operation during the war in East Africa. As well as this, my great uncle had also brought back a cigarette case belonging to a German doctor, a civilian German doctor that was serving with the Schutztruppe. And he was originally taken prisoner of war in the German Southwest Africa campaign of 1914-1915, and then served in East Africa afterwards. And it was also other research that we found in some of the German records that he also served afterwards as a doctor with the Turkish army during 1917, so probably in the Mesopotamia campaign. It was also, once I'd researched Uncle Will's campaign, I also moved into other aspects and other campaigns during the war in Africa, such as the war in Togoland, Cameroon's German Southwest Africa, where I really formed a base of starting a medal collection, because I collect military medals, and that was where the real collection started, during Uncle Will's medals that I had passed down to me. And it was from there that really I got to know a lot more about the Great War in Africa as a whole, and I found out about the Great War in Africa Association, where me and Anne have done quite a fair bit of research together, about different aspects and whatnot, especially one of them being with one of the medal groups that I own, is one of the photographs of the Königsberg gun, where it was at Carhi during 1916, and it was destroyed, and there are very few known photographs of the gun before it was destroyed, and I managed to find a photograph of it before it was destroyed on its original platform. And it was from there that we actually worked out exactly where it was and exactly what time this photograph was taken. I've got the photograph with me today, but unfortunately I was unable to bring Uncle Will's items along with, because it's been lent to another member of the family that wanted to see it. Yeah, he went to France as well, and we also got some of his items from France as well as that. But he won a gallantry medal, he won the military medal for gallantry during an attack in the last weeks of the war, which we've managed to find via war diaries and whatnot. But his story really finishes. He was a miner in one of the minefields outside of Leeds, and he dies in a tragic mining accident where there was a gas explosion under in one of the mines, and he got trapped in there. And there was a massive court of inquiry, and the actual tragedy itself got brought up in Parliament. And it was that story that I managed to research, including all of his items, the story, the photographs that have been brought back from Africa, that I turned it into a display for the Orders and Medals Research Society. And it was from there that really, the research kind of, I could research it to a certain extent with the knowledge that I had already on the war in Africa, but it was influences such as Christopher Hill, and other people within the Great War in Africa Association that really had that knowledge, that more long-term knowledge that I'm still learning onto how to move on to the next step, really. Yeah, no. And that's really what my interest is in the Great War in East Africa.